Hei alle sammen, mitt navn Sofia Harris, og jeg hadde gleden av å dekke Summer Game Fest 2025 fra Los Angeles for Gamer.no. Så jeg tenkte jeg kunne lage en liten video og snakke litt om tingene jeg spilte, hva jeg fikk se, demoer, presentasjoner og litt om hvordan stemningen har vært her i Los Angeles. Alright, så hvordan var Summer Game Fest? Layouten var som et campus, og så var det forskjellige typer rom, eller cabanas som de kalte det, hvor utviklere hadde vist frem sine spill. Så noe var bak lukkede dører, hvor du fikk så vidt se en logo utenfor. Og så var det et område som het Playdays HQ, hvor der var det liksom mer messefølelsen, så masse små booths hvor du kunne se alt som folk spilte av demoer. Der inne var stemningen veldig, veldig kul. Og så det jo fint å kunne diskutere spill med noen, så jeg tenkte, siden jeg har fått lov til å låne studio til Easy Allies, at jeg skulle invitere Ayla Henk til å diskutere noen av spillene vi snakket om. Så høres det bra ut for deg, eller?
Jeg forstår litt norsk.
Og du forstår litt norsk, så det...
Jeg lærer, men we'll talk English for my part later. Yeah. I'll pop back in later for the stuff we played together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll do my best.
You're doing great. Så før vi diskuterer spillene begge vi så tar vi og snakker litt om bare spillene som jeg fikk se. Du ikke enig?
Hva?
Dying Light the Beast var en av spillene jeg fikk spille en demo av under Summer Game Fest. Det veldig, i kjent Dying Light-stil. I Dying Light-stil. Jeg føler at Dying Light bare en av de peneste zombiespillene som finnes. Og jeg vet ikke om man kan kalle det undervurdert eller overvurdert, men det jeg så ut av demoen var veldig, veldig imponerende. Parkouren føltes utrolig kul ut, og det også et så viktig del av det spillet der. Og det føltes super smooth ut. Så jeg fikk prøvd ut en ganske lang demo. Det var en av de lengre demoene jeg fikk prøvd ut under SGF. Våpnene føltes veldig, veldig gode ut. Jeg var spesielt glad i pil og bue, som veldig vanlig egentlig for meg, men jeg trodde først for jeg har alltid likt liksom, crowbar, øks, du hadde en sånn svær tohåndsøks som jeg brukte en periode som var kul, men jeg likte veldig godt hvordan pil og bua føltes. Det startet ut på dagtid, hvor jeg hoppet fra tak til tak og skulle prøve å komme meg til safehouset mitt. Og så blir det selvfølgelig natta, og det var jo bare så utrolig stressende. Hvis du har spilt Dying Light før, så vet du hvordan det når det blir nattid. Da det en helt annen atmosfære. Og det det jeg egentlig liker litt, en av de tingene jeg liker veldig godt med Dying Light, den blandingen av jeg løper rundt, dreper alle zombiene jeg ser, frem til motsetning til natta, hvor nå skal jeg være så stealthy, så snikete som mulig, så stille som mulig. Det første missionet som etter Safehouse missionet var at jeg skulle gå til en sånn stor fabrikk og finne ut av hva de driver med her, driver de å eksperimentere med noe, og da var det litt human-to-human combat, kan du si. Da var det mennesker som var mot mennesker som ikke zombier. Og da igjen var det stealthy gameplay, det var takedowns, det var pil og bue I stedet for ting som var for høyt. Jeg klarte å provosere alle sammen, og alle så meg, så det ble litt ut og kjør på slutten, men veldig, veldig gøy, veldig spenstig, og det alltid veldig gøy å ha liksom, du har to fiender, du har zombiene på ene siden som fortsatt der og eksisterer. Det var ikke sånn at de bare forsvant under selve den delen, som noe jeg likte, at det var liksom ikke sånn åja, her menneskedelen, så vi skal bare late som at de ikke eksisterer. De var der, menneskene var der, og da kom en sånn stort rom, og så fant jeg ut at her det noe som har sluppet ut, skal vi gå og finne ut hva det for noe. En annen ting jeg fikk prøvd ut var også å kjøre. Du kan kjøre I første person og I tredje person. Bilen føltes veldig, veldig enkel ut å kjøre også. Jeg spilte med kontroller, og bilen tar skade, så du kan liksom ikke bare ramme bilen inn I alt du så. Du må prøve å være litt forsiktig og si, ok, hvis du gjør for mye, så kommer bilen til å være ødelagt. Og så på slutten av demoen så var det en bossfight som var veldig, veldig challenging. Vet du hva? Å spille som The Beast, altså å ha den ekstra poweren som du liksom charger up, og så kan du bare slår ned zombie left and right. Det føltes veldig kult ut. Så var det Yooka-Replaylee, som jeg fikk spilt en relativt kort demo av. Jeg kan liksom ikke med hånd på hjertet gi et helt fullt førsteinntrykk, for jeg følte at det var et par ting som ikke funket helt for meg. Veldig, veldig pent. Plattformene føltes vanskelig ut, men altså riktig, grad av vanskelig. Kamera litt interessant, fordi det levde på en måte sitt eget liv. Og det var et par ganger under demoen hvor jeg følte at kamera liksom svinget når jeg ikke hadde lyst til at det skulle svinge, og så falt jeg ned og liksom måtte starte over igjen. Så jeg litt usikker på om det føltes godt ut. Og nå spilte jeg bare på første verdenen i det spillet her. Jeg hadde ikke masse tid. Og det var liksom et par performance issues som jeg følte skjedde under demoen, som igjen ikke nødvendigvis en refleksjon av spillet. De har forstått tid til å finpusse sånne ting som det, så jeg skal ikke være for streng. Det jeg spilte som fungerte veldig, veldig godt. Det ser visuelt så det en stor oppdatering. For å være helt ærlig så var det som følte ikke at jeg fikk spilt nok til at jeg kan si at det her et spill som var superimponerende for meg. Men det blir interessant å se om den bilden som jeg prøvde ut i demoen sånn som, hva skal jeg si, den fullførte spillet kommer til å være. Så det var et par problemer med ytelsen. Kamera fungerte på en måte som jeg følte det var litt kinkig, det var liksom ikke supersmooth. Men forhåpentligvis det ting som kommer ikke til å være i det ferdige spillet. Så har vi Voyagers of Nera, som hva skal jeg si, noen kalte Sofia Core, det veldig meg spill. Her snakker vi det føltes veldig ut som tropisk Valheim den måten jeg kanskje vil forklare det på, med liksom litt palea-følelse, co-op survival. Du på et øysystem, og her det snakk om å bygge baser, du surfer, du svømmer, jakter, du har en glider som du kan bevege deg rundt i verdenen med, det litt combat, men det ikke for combat-y. Utrolig pent spill, og det var bare godfølelse fra starten av. Jeg prøvde ut litt av forskjellige ting. Først så prøvde jeg ut liksom surfinga og komme meg rundt i verdenen som føltes veldig, veldig smooth ut. Og så prøvde jeg litt på bygginga selvfølgelig, som noe som jeg veldig, veldig glad i. Veldig intuitivt byggesystem hvis du spiller mange av den type spillene, altså hvis du inne i Palea eller Valheim eller Dinkum, alle de spillene der. Veldig, veldig mye av det samme. Gleder meg veldig til å se hvordan det spillet videre, men det ser utrolig, utrolig pent ut. Så jeg supergira. NORSE Oath of Blood fra norske Arctic Hazard. Det et turn-based tactics game, hvordan man sier det på norsk? Herregud. Jeg føler jeg burde ha lagt en sånn, hva skal jeg si, disclaimer om at det blir mye norsk-engelsk her, fordi jeg har ikke snakket norsk på en god stund. Men forhåpentligvis skjønner dere hva jeg mener. Men ja, det her et sånn type spill jeg føler jeg har lyst til å se i en helhet. Ikke bare, liksom, det vanskelig å dømme et sånt spill ut fra bare en demo, fordi det så mange forskjellige ting som går inn i det. Så det management og combat, det liksom ikke bare en ting, så jeg gleder meg til å spille når spillet kommer ut for fullt. Så har vi The Last Caretaker, som et veldig interessant spill. Det first person survival. Du en robot som prøver å finne ut, liksom, ikke bare hvem du men altså du som Quest har å gjenbygge jorda som oversvømmet. Og alle mennesker har så å si forlatt planeten. Så veldig, men også veldig interessant, fordi den delen jeg spilte var litt annerledes enn traileren. I traileren så ser du liksom at det shooting, og det litt mer action-packed. Den delen jeg spilte var mer liksom, hva skal jeg si, puzzles. Du prøvde å finne ut, du våkna liksom i et rom og skulle finne ut hvordan å komme deg ut, få på strømmen, og så kommer du ut og så ser du et sånt svært skip, og så var det sånn, ok, da må jeg finne ut hvordan jeg kan få skipet i gang, før jeg kan komme meg ut derfra. Så det var en veldig interessant demo i forhold til liksom, hvordan spillet blir solgt i trailerne og ellers. Men ja, jeg synes det virker veldig, veldig unikt. Jeg liker veldig godt når det blanding, ikke bare combat eller crafting puzzles, altså når det en fin blanding av alt. Petal Runner en av indie-spillene jeg hadde gleden av å spille under Summer Game Fest, som var veldig, veldig sett. Grafisk sett så vil mange antageligvis sammenligne det med Pokémon Red and Blue, og det en god sammenligning. Det føles veldig ut som Pokémon Red and Blue hvis du hadde en motorsykkel. Du trener til å bli en Petal Runner, som vil si at du leverer det de kaller leap cells til diverse mennesker i den byen her. Og de leap cellsa blir brukt til å lage en kompanjong som de kaller for et Hannah Pet. Du snakker med folk, du får oppgaver du skal gjøre. Veldig koselig vibe. Det er masse små puslespill essentially, som skjer når du skal aktivere leap-cellsene. Da. Så da har du minispill, om det er å liksom, dodge asteroider, og så er det en hvor du skal mate en giraff. Det er veldig, veldig kult, veldig søtt. Da har vi kommet til Lose Lagoon. Lose Lagoon er jeg vil kalle det et cozy spill, hvor man er en pilot som gjør diverse ærender rundt om i en archipelago. Og du møter diverse utrolig søte NPC-er som er dyr, og de gir deg diverse ting du skal gjøre. Du skal fikse, om det er å fikse et fly, bygge noe spesielt, kanskje du ser etter en annen NPC. Så når jeg spilte demoen, så var det et par ting jeg fikk gjøre. Jeg var i en liten by hvor jeg snakket med diverse NPCs, lærte litt mer om hvordan verdenen var, og så kastet jeg meg inn i flyet så fort jeg hadde fikset det, som er customizable, og flydde litt rundt. Jeg fikk brukt litt tid på byggesystemet. Veldig, klassisk survival game. Byggesystemet kommer til å føles veldig kjent for folk som er veldig glad i denne type spill. Mye søte møbler, og så har du liksom workbenches og diverse andre ting som du unlocker, og lager deg da et lite hus av et slag. Så har vi Possessors fra Heart Machine. Her skal jeg være helt åpen og si at jeg kjenner mange av de som har vært med på å lage det spillet her, så selvfølgelig kan ikke jeg være 110% objektiv, men jeg skal prøve å være så objektiv som mulig. Visuelt er det spillet her veldig, veldig, veldig pent. Det er veldig unikt. Det så ikke ut som noe annet spill jeg så under Summer Game Fest. Jeg likte veldig godt karakterdesignet. Jeg synes de så veldig, veldig, veldig kule ut. Personlig ble jeg litt frustrert fra tid til annen når det kom til combaten. Jeg følte at det var et par steder hvor jeg følte at jeg slo, men det registrerte liksom ikke på samme måte. Det er definitivt den type spill hvor jo mer du spiller det, jo enklere. Du må liksom trene litt for å kanskje komme deg inn i hvordan combat-systemet fungerer, fordi det var ofte jeg tenkte at nå skal jeg bruke et attack som slår det monsteret her opp, og så gjorde jeg liksom det for tidlig, og så kan jeg ikke gjøre det så her for sent. Det er definitivt smak og behag. Det føles litt sånn som hvordan From Software Games ikke er for alle. Og det her tror jeg også er litt samme greia, at det er veldig, veldig challenging. Når det er sagt, så synes jeg historien, narrativet bak hele virker veldig, veldig interessant. Jeg har ikke lyst til å spoile for mye. Men det virker som en veldig, veldig interessant historie. Og jeg tror hvordan gameplay fungerer sammen med det blir veldig interessant å se når hele spillet kommer ut i helhet.
Hallo, jeg er her!
Ja, du er her. Da skal vi snakke litt om alle de andre spillene som vi begge så.
Vi spiller spill sammen!
Yeah!
Jeg forstår litt norsk.
Ja, du forstår masse norsk. We are going to do it in English just to make it a little easier.
Bra! Hva? Hva?
Ja.
Nei? Jeg forstår norsk.
Ok.
Jeg forstår alle norsk.
Alt norsk, ja. Wow,
nei,
ok.
Nei. Vi snakker engelsk.
We're going to do a little English. Pathfinder Abomination Vaults.
Yeah.
This was a very surprising game for me. It wasn't like really on my radar.
You really like this one.
I really liked it. It's really fun. It's very BG3, Baldur's Gate, Dungeons and Dragons. Like you put together a team. And the demo was very similar to what the B-roll is.
It's like very old school, like Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Or, it's more actiony than like Icewind Dale or like Planescape Torment, but it's like that kind of vibe. But you have a team. And you have combo moves you can perform together, which is really cool.
The also very interesting thing was, so I forget the name of the character I picked, but he was a bow and arrow type guy. It was really interesting because they can all be customized to have not just one specific kind of role. So he did have a healing ability that I kept using, and they were the people I were playing with, they were like, "Oh, you do healing. You like that's in other games." And I was like, "Yeah, I am a support in a lot of other games."
He's more generally like the rogue sort of.
He is, but you can like change your characters within certain parameters, which is really interesting. So you can be bow and arrow DPS, but I'm also going to be a support secondarily. which I really enjoy that. It's kind of it feels very similar to kind of like a Baldur's Gate multi-class where it's like, I'm going to do a lot of damage, but also maybe I just want to be healing, or vice versa. Maybe I want to be a supporting tank, you know?
Yeah, they said that in my gameplay, the kind of person with the yellow turban thing was more the healer, but they said that you can spec them to do more like tanky fire magic kind of stuff toward the front. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Like, so there are different kind of builds you can do per class, even though there are only 4 characters. Cool thing was they emphasize drop in, drop out multiplayer.
Love that.
Really easy. You just show a friend comes over, you're like, hey, grab a controller right away. You don't have to like do anything special. You don't have to set up your character. And then there's a lot of interactivity in the environment, which I also
I like that too. And it felt very natural. Like I didn't even teach me like a certain button or I was like, that's a chest, I'm gonna go open it. And it felt very. The difficulty level was also good. They told me that they nerfed it, not nerfed it, but people kept dying from like, because you have poison damage. As these games usually have.
There was an area that was completely poisoned.
And I was like, and they were like, most people would probably die a lot in this specific area.
But if you go and find certain mushrooms, they like light up an area and then you're safe in that area. So stuff like that was really neat.
I really liked how intuitive it all felt. Even if you might not have tons of experience with these types of games, it felt really easy to get into. The combat felt really good.
It's based on a Pathfinder campaign. I guess the Abomination Vaults is like an actual like old campaign from the game, the tabletop games. Speaking of difficulty.
Oh my God, okay.
The next one is called OMUT. OMUT, all capitals. OMUT. I don't know if it's OMUT or if that's how you spell it.
I'm not sure, but it is... God, what an experience.
It's a boss rush game, so it's mostly boss fights, and my God, these are hard boss fights.
Super hard.
The first boss is like a floating orb that spits out like sticky poison goo at you. And I was playing with mouse and keyboard.
Same.
Which they had suggested. And there's a death counter at the bottom, and you restart very quickly. Thankfully, it doesn't let you restart if you're not dead, because I definitely hit R a couple of times when I was still alive. But they said like one person beat it at SGF, and they were using a controller.
Wow.
So I was like, huh.
Yeah, because the aim is really interesting because you have these like kind of rays from it, and so you're aiming like ahead of time.
Yeah,
almost.
your mouse. Yeah, you have to like lead
and because
your
it's like
shots,
in the like the 2D space you're in, kind of, it felt very different from like, you know, like a normal shooter. Like I had to kind of like hyper focus of like, I don't think I've ever played a game where I kind of aim like that in that way.
It's sort of like a shmup, like a shoot 'em up, kind of not a bullet hell, but like it controls kind of like one of those where it's like,
because that's the thing, you can't just constantly be shooting.
You've got like 4 shots at a time or something, and then there's a reload period. So there was a couple of times where I would have won. I got to like 100 deaths, which is where they say like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like I almost beat it. I almost had him beat like in the 50s and in the 70s and stuff. But the times I lost is because I ran out of bullets.
Yeah, same.
And then he touched the ground. If the boss touched the ground at all, you lost. For that boss.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of funny. It's like darkly funny. I don't know.
Very atmospheric.
Weird game.
Definite flash warning for this one.
Oh,
it is very flashy. But if you are able to play the demo, it was really, really cool, really interesting. Unlike anything else I played at SGF, I would say.
This next one, I actually played by mistake. I was supposed to play Chroma Gun 2 at this booth, but I got put on Bandit Trap.
Yeah.
And you had played it separately?
I booked it. I wanted to play.
Okay, yeah. It's cool.
It is surprisingly cool. It's chaotic.
Home Alone.
Yeah, so it's essentially Home Alone. It's 3 versus 1.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they need to tweak the balance slightly, because the one kept winning on our end.
Us too. So it's the trapper who sets traps around the house, and then 3 bandits who are trying to break in to get 10 hidden treasures. They're little diamonds. And so like household objects like the refrigerator or a cabinet or a couch or whatever could have a diamond in it. And as a bandit, you break in, you have a crowbar or whatever, and you're trying to get those gems. But the trapper beforehand had 2 minutes to set traps all around the house, and they can set 5 traps per like this tower. So it's like 5 traps per like 2 rooms, basically.
Because I wanted to ask you about that, because I did not get to play as a trapper.
I played as the trapper and a bandit.
Okay,
Yeah.
so because as a bandit, while the trapper does that, you get to try out all the weapons, which was really nice.
Yeah.
They have like a variety.
Perks.
There are a variety of different weapons you use that all have, their pros and cons. And you're kind of in this room. And I mean, it's very much a chaotic, as you can see
And
from
goofy,
the visual.
like,
it's goofy, it's funny, it's definitely like...
When you get hit, you go flying out of the house.
Oh my God,
like,
yeah. I was so close for us to win, and I got just...
Oh, really?
A trap got me, and I just flew out of the entire house. It was hilarious.
Yeah, so as the trapper, you don't want to be seen while the bandits are in the house. You're running around. You can set off the traps. You can go into something that has a trap in it and like literally walk around like as a couch with a flamethrower on it.
It's very cool.
If you hit the bandits enough, they'll fly back out of the house and they'll have to come back in.
Which is kind of it's super interesting. Like I feel like I want to play this with like people I know, because we didn't really co-op the people I was playing with just because we didn't know each other. We didn't get to talk that much.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you were like on a headset with people and talking, like one person could look for the treasure.
Well,
one
that's
could look for the traps. One could look for the,
Right. And that's the devs apparently said that they think that the game is balanced in favor of the bandits. They said that they thought it favored the bandits maybe too much. Which is crazy because everyone I've talked to, Damiani from Easy Allies and I played it twice, and the trapper won both times.
Same.
Once was me, and I was like, haha.
Wow.
And then when you played, the trapper won.
Yeah,
but
we played twice, trapper won both.
The devs all said that the bandits, it's balanced for the bandits, and I suspect it's, if you know how to play.
Yes.
And if you're talking to each other.
I think the talking is super important. I also think, because you get like a scanner, and there were different scanners you could pick from. And they told all of us to pick the one where you can scan for treasure. And so I think having one of each, because there's also a scanner for finding traps, which I picked a second time, way more useful. So I just didn't constantly get yeeted out of
It scanned
stuff.
for traps?
It scans for traps. And so I'm wondering maybe we all just got like the same advice, and so we all played in a way where like this will be interesting to see when the game is out like fully, like when everyone's getting into it, because I'm not sure how that's gonna
because as a bandit you'll go up to like a cabinet or a refrigerator and you'll have to do a little mini game based on the tool you're trying to use to break into it. And certain tools are better at certain objects, which you'll learn as you play more. But then it's like if you haven't scanned it, then you find out if it's a gem or a trap or just nothing, I guess.
Or nothing.
So you don't really know what you're about to get while you're trying to break in. But if you get 10 gems, then the bandits win. And if you hold off the bandits long enough, I guess the trapper wins. I can't remember exactly how the trapper won, but we always won.
I think the first time I think it's just we didn't get enough.
You hold them out long enough or something.
I think we had like 9 out of 10 treasures or something.
Crazy! You got close.
We got so close. I'm excited to see how it's gonna play once I play it with people I know and like have more of a cooperative thing. That kind of is hard to get when you're on a show floor. There's hundreds of people around. Like it's not exactly a comfortable co-op situation. So yeah.
Speaking of cooperation, though, the next one, FBC Firebreak, which is the super weird multiplayer offshoot of Control by Remedy.
Which I admittedly am a little bit behind. I just finished Control this year. I still have a couple of...
Then you're right on track.
I still have a couple of things to do, like post-credit things I have to get to. I don't know if I'll have time for it, but hopefully I will. So...
It probably won't matter.
But you have like played all of it. You're very in the lore. So like for you, how does this fit into the rest of it, or does it not?
I mean, that's a great question. Well, I mean, it's minor spoilers, I guess, for Control, Alan Wake 2, whatever. But like the people in the oldest house where Control takes place have been stuck in there for like 5 or 6 years now in the lore because there was a time gap between Control and Alan Wake 2 of like 3 to 5 years. I can't remember exactly. But everyone that was in the oldest house has been stuck in there. So this takes place during that time period. And like you are basically a cleanup crew that goes out to fix crazy situations going on in the oldest house, but you're not like exactly trained. You're not like commandos or whatever. You're just like accountants and stuff that, I don't know, volunteered to try to go kill this Post-it note monster or, get a bunch of goo off of a bunch of turbines so that the power comes back on.
Yeah.
And like, I'm very glad that the setup for their booth was, so they had one, it was 4 sides, and one of them was like just for a PowerPoint where they introduced the game. And then the other 3 we played. And then they had a person over headset kind of talking to it. We could all talk to each other, the people playing. And I'm very glad we had someone kind of talking to us to kind of guide our experience, because otherwise we wouldn't have known what the hell was going on. Like you know, the general arc is, so for example, we did two different, they call them jobs.
Yeah.
Which gets a little confusing because they were like, there are 5 jobs at launch, which I thought maybe meant character, like player classes.
Classes, yeah.
But jobs are missions, and the classes are just like your loadout. But the first one we did was Paper Chase, which was you have to fight against this big Post-it note monster.
Love that monster.
And you're getting Post-it notes all over yourself, and you're trying to deal with all these things. And so the basic arc is there are 3 sections, and there's a first one that's kind of easier, sort of teaches you the ropes for that scenario. And then the second one, gets a little more intense. And then the third one is kind of a bigger challenge. So in this case, it was a boss made out of a giant thing made of Post-it notes. But in other ones, in a different mission, where there was like foam everywhere, we had to, there wasn't really a boss, it was a bunch of enemies, but we had to fix this machine in a really tight kind of chaotic area. So they don't all end in bosses.
Which I think is really nice. It
Yeah,
gives
they're
a little
different.
bit of variety.
But they also said they specify their kind of like philosophy with this game is that they don't want it to be another job in real life. They don't want it to feel like
I like that.
Yeah, they were like, we're not trying to make it, you're not going to have to log in for your dailies. You're not going to have to do like Destiny 2 or Fortnite or anything to like come in, and like there's no timed battle passes or anything like that. Anything that's in the game will be there forever. All the updates will be free. They said the game costs like $30. It feels very realistic for what the game is.
Yeah.
Their mentality feels realistic.
It also feels like, we're adults with full-time jobs and the life,
Right.
and so, but I still want to play a shooter.
Yeah.
And this kind of, I think, will fit it greatly into that. And I also think it's really cool to just explore the whole area in like a completely different way. Like that was my favorite part of Control, was just kind of running around and just seeing everything.
I mean, this is very chaotic too, but you're still in the house.
You're still
and, like,
in the house.
You see familiar areas. Like they said the furnace is in one of the other. Like people didn't feed the furnace enough, so now it's mad. So that's
fun.
one of the jobs.
Yeah.
They also said though, if you don't want to do the whole three section gameplay arc, you can just do the first one if you want and then stop. If you have 10 minutes, just do one little quick one and then go make dinner or whatever. So it's very friendly, very cool, but it's also like incredibly chaotic. They're the 3 jump, or the 3, I don't know, they're called loadouts or whatever. There's the jump kit, which is the one I played, which you have an electricity attack and then a jump kind of pile driver thing that shoots you up, sort of like a rocket jump in other games.
I'd say so.
And then everyone has just guns also. And you have a special move that for that one is like a gnome that'll go out and attack for you.
Nice.
And then a boombox that attracts enemies. The other one was it shot water.
Water.
And the kind of the thing with the game is that it's all about the synergy of the classes. The third one had a wrench and could fix things. So in the
water and electricity.
In the Paper Chase one, like my electricity didn't really do anything against the Post-it notes on its own. Like it would do a little, but not great. But if the other player got it wet and then I electrocuted it, it would destroy like all of them immediately.
Which is super cool.
Which is neat. So it's a cool game. It's neat. Hallo, beklager, jeg har vondt I hodet. Migräne.
Migrene.
Migräne.
Yeah.
Ja. So I look very cool now.
Ja, veldig kul.
I laid down for a while, and now we're good to go.
Yeah.
I just have to wear sunglasses.
Snap and grab.
Snap and grab.
Yes. We played this in the beautiful Annapurna Lounge.
They actually did a great job.
They actually had an amazing lounge.
It
Shout out
looked-
to the lounge. That was probably my favorite lounge of all the private lounges.
Built by Go Button, the same people who built our set, actually.
I would say that and the
some-
Dying Light booth was my favorites. The Dying
I
Light
didn't see
booth
that.
had like, it was like leaves on the floor, and there was like this industrial decor, and you sat kind of in darkness, and it smelled like forest. It was really
Ooh,
cool.
that's
yeah,
cool.
It was
I like
it was very nice.
Snap and grab.
Snap and grab.
So this is a cool idea for a game. The idea is
Very cool idea.
you're a photographer,
Mm-hmm.
but you're also someone who does heists.
Yeah.
You're a
thief.
a lady thief.
Mm-hmm.
And you take pictures. So what you do is you go into the scene, you
Mm-hmm.
take pictures, and then you plan your heist by moving the pictures around.
Yep.
And then your goons, your like henchmen, will do the heist.
This Johnny Bravo looking guy.
This Johnny Bravo looking guy. And then if you've planned your heist correctly, it'll go off without a hitch. But if you haven't, you'll get caught by like a pet tiger or one of the security guards, and you'll have to find a way to distract them.
It's a very complicated like game in that sense.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like there's a lot of ways in which a heist could go wrong. You could have put pictures in the wrong order, or you could have done, and so
It reminds me of Hitman.
Yeah.
Kind of, where it's like you can set up your kind of Rube Goldberg machine to any number of ways to take your plan in action, but then many ways to do it, and you can kind of experiment and see the different ways to do it. Like,
Yeah, and I like the setup of her being a fashion photographer lady.
Yeah.
And so like she's at this in the demo, she's at like a party with like these like, 80s extravagant people. So it makes sense that she's there taking pictures, but she's actually taking pictures to plan the heist.
And the guy whose apartment you're in is very vain, and
my
so he
God.
has like an ice sculpture of himself. So one of the heists is you're trying to steal the key to the apartment, which is being held by the ice sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are many ways you can go about it. You can melt the sculpture with the hot party lights. You can crush it with the chandelier.
Mm-hmm.
I tried a couple of different ways when we were playing it. And they all worked, and just different ways of doing it. So that's cool. You have a lot of different options.
Yeah, I definitely think the base idea is really, really cool, really interesting. I would say I wonder if the demo we played, it was extremely early.
It's
felt
coming
a
out.
little
They're
too
targeting
early.
2026, so it's like not, it's not coming out in a month or something. So they have time to address any of it. But yeah, it felt a little early. Still, it's funny when you go to events like this, because sometimes you play a game and you're like, well, this is done.
Yeah.
Like what's great, put it out,
Yeah, it's ready to go.
Ironically, Silk Song, people played that in 2019 at events, and they were like, this feels done. And now it's 800 years later, and that's still not out yet. But some other games, you're like, okay, yeah, I can see that this is a work in progress. It's a demo. Yeah. So like there were some voice lines that weren't in there yet, some animations that weren't in there yet, which is fine. So we're not saying that to like rag on this game, just to let you know the demo we played wasn't,
It falls
all there
into
yet.
it had the similar experience. Like there is always a group of demos you play in these events that fall into there are some issues here, but I'm not sure they will reflect the final.
Right.
This feels like this is a demo, and this is a thing that happens in a demo.
But really cool idea, really neat,
Really
very
cool idea.
stylish,
Yes.
very funny. Like I liked a lot about it.
I'm excited to learn more about it.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing how it progresses.
Yeah. Grave Seasons.
Yeah.
So cool. The concept is essentially, it starts off just as a farming sim.
You're just farming.
I'm at a farm. I'm doing all the stuff that I do in all my
Beep,
all
boop,
my
beep,
farming
boop.
sims. Like I am just planting seeds, talking to NPCs, all very attractive NPCs, by the way. Love the artwork in this one.
Picking carrots, and then whoops.
Yep.
You find a severed hand.
Yeah.
The thing I'm not clear on, and they kind of said, is that I don't know if it's every time you play or if it's like there are various mysteries and they could be different each time, but like there's some kind of like changeable or procedural aspect to this where the mystery isn't the same every time you play it. They had mentioned something like that, and that's kind of interesting to me, where it's like the facts of your case might be different from other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're doing like a murder mystery while farming. So you've escaped from prison, or you've just gotten out of prison.
Yeah.
And you buy a farm to kind of restart your life. And then you find this severed hand, and you can show people around town you're like the severed hand, and they're all like, "Oh my god.
Look what I found in my carrots."
And they're like, maybe that's the previous farmer, because no one knows what happened to them. Like,
it's very cool.
Neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blumhouse putting this one out.
This is Blumhouse. Very excited to see the full story, because I feel like it was a perfect little tidbit, little taste.
Yeah, and we only got to walk around the farm, and in the trailer you see like there's towns, there's people's houses.
Yeah, we saw only like the first part here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has a lot of the. It's nice because it also has a lot of the cozy farming sim stuff, mechanics that people like me who play a lot of farming sims like. You're mining, you're gardening, you're doing all the chores around the house. But then horror happens. So love the artwork. Very interested in seeing what this game becomes.
Yeah.
And then we have Crisol Theater of Idols.
Yeah, this one I was really surprised by.
Crisol Theater of Idols, I had heard the name, had no like concept of it.
It's Spanish. I don't know how to say it really.
No, we're probably butchering it, probably, but
it's
so
like
in awe of
BioShock, Resident Evil.
Yeah, but also Spanish culture, religion, like iconography, creepy dolls, just
Catholic
incredible
horror.
vibes. The vibes were really, really cool.
And it's so cool that they said they were emphasizing the survival elements, so much so that your bullets are your blood.
That was the best part. This is one of my favorite reloading mechanics I think I've seen in any game is you take your gun and it has these little spikes and you just like punch it into you. You can see right there punch it into your hand. And there are like multiple different ones based on whatever weapon you have. It is so cool. It feels so fun every time you do it.
It's great. But, you have to, so your health will go down when you reload your gun. And so you kind of have to balance, okay, do I fight back and literally hurt myself to reload, or do I just run? And the enemies do not mess around. They do a lot of damage, and they're like these weird like relics. They're like these religious icons, like dolls, which means they're not made out of flesh and blood, which means they don't reload your health when you kill them.
Yeah.
You get essence and this other stuff that is for buying something that we didn't see in the demo, but like upgrading skills or something, I don't know. But if you find like a dead animal or a dead person, you can kind of soul reaver them to heal yourself and refill your blood. But the enemies don't refill you, and so you have to think really hard about your combat scenarios and
it's spooky.
It's freaky.
It's really freaky when you shoot, because every time you shoot, even if it's the same type of enemy, based on where you're hit, they can like fall apart in different ways. So like in one case you'd be shooting one and then like the legs start moving on their own, and the other one it would be the torso. So every time would be different, and like you think you got them, you didn't get them. You still have to keep going.
Like usually if you hit them in the head and then a couple of times in the body, they will explode. But one time I was fighting, I got the thing in the head, and then I hit its arm off. And then I blew its legs off, and I'm like, okay, certainly it's fine. But then its torso and one arm was still following me, and I was like, okay, this thing just won't die. And it looks beautiful, so it's not like AA in like a quality kind of mentality, but AA in like a
scope,
length and scope. Just being responsible with your budget.
Really excited about this one. Definitely a highlight.
It looks really good, and plus, if you've been missing that BioShock vibe, maybe a little more survival-y than BioShock, but it the second you drop in, you're like, this feels like BioShock. And next up, we had TOEM 2.
TOEM 2.
Which...
TOEM 2 looks very cute.
Yeah, I never played the first one, but
Same.
they've done a lot of work on the movement in this one. You can jump, you can climb on buildings and stuff, you can go around. And yeah, you've got your camera, you take pictures, and it's just really nice.
So nice. It was also nice to have this in the middle of all these like horror scary stuff. We were like, oh, nice. We're taking pictures. We're chilling.
Yeah.
Looks really, really cute. People who have played one are probably going to feel real familiar, like a improved version on the original.
And you kind of just go around, talk to NPCs, get tiny little micro quests, you know, like one of them would be like, hey, can you climb up and get that flag on top of the building? Or like sometimes you just see something interesting and you try to get over to it. There was a troll guarding a bridge and he was like, give me a picture of 3 goats.
Yeah.
And so you have to go and position yourself to get 3 goats in one photo. And then if you show it to him, he's like, hey, that's a good shot. And he lets you use the bridge.
Yeah.
They also, I don't know if this is in the first one, but they added tools to the camera.
Yeah.
Like a hammer and a scissors. And you just point your camera and then do the little prompt and it'll, you know, you can break blocks or cut somebody's hair.
Yeah. I also really like how the map felt, the dynamic of it, and like the way it just aesthetically looked. It was very interesting to look at. There was a lot to see.
Beautiful.
This is one of those that just felt real like, oh, you're this is it. Like it felt ready.
Yeah, it felt very, very good.
Super solid.
Yeah.
So very
Really,
excited
really
to
good.
play the full thing. It's super cute.
Yeah. You were actually kind of into this one. I was
All right,
surprised.
let's talk about Code Vein 2. I have not played Code Vein 1.
Me neither.
I have no clue what it is. We went into this presentation that Bandai had for us.
Yeah,
about
hands off.
This.
It was,
hands off.
But so gameplay, videos, and stuff, yeah.
So they had videos that we could watch. Surprisingly, I was like, am I into a Souls-like? Me?
You won't be.
I don't
when
know.
You play it, you won't be.
I was very, I really love, so essentially.
Candleface, love Candleface.
Love the whole aesthetic vibe of the whole thing.
Even the anime of it all?
Yeah, it's vampires though.
She loves
vampires. Are called revenants, but it's
They're
just
vampires.
And you can customize your character. 20 different voices to pick
the
from.
customization looked really good.
Yeah.
The outfits they showed were amazing. Like
so cool.
I guess it's Edwardian. I'm never sure if it's Victorian or Edwardian, but like
It's like
whatever. Cool
vampires.
outfits, neat dresses. Yeah, classic vampire stuff.
Love a good customizer. Yeah, and you travel with a companion named Lou, which is this lady. She's
a
awesome.
revenant.
She's a revenant.
And she can go through time.
Yeah, so the way the progress works is really cool, is that you go
with Doctor Strange portals.
You go back in time to progress to present.
Yeah.
So then you come back to the present and the story is progressed. It's really interesting.
Well, the game has 2 time periods, the past and the present. And the present looks all even more messed up. The past looks pretty messed up too, but
not as bad.
The present, like certain buildings are gone. There's a giant weird orb in the sky that you can see, and like weird red tendrils in the sky. But they were saying, like if you clear a bridge or whatever in the past, that'll be cleared in the present.
I'm really interested to see how that works. Like how much is going to be. Is it going to be like very specific things, or how much of an impact?
I'm wondering, how dynamic that is, or if it's just little scripted parts. I mean, either way, it's cool. But
it's super cool. They have different classes. You have a bunch of different weapons you can try. There's Forma and Jail are the names of like the combat versions. There was like a bat jail where your thing like you turn into like a bat. It's like a really cool attack.
And
it's like a big super attack.
One.
Yeah.
And it seemed like you could change classes on the fly. They called them like marks or something, and they said you could swap them, I think.
Yeah.
So you're not locked in, from what I understood.
I mean, this is the type of stuff where we can't know what it feels like until we try it, because it was just a presentation. So that I'm not sure, but I really the customization of it all, and like they were saying how it's like. It's a full reimagining. It's taking
They emphasize that. You don't necessarily have to have played Code Vein 1 to jump into this one. They're like, obviously, it's it has sequel elements, but they're like you can come in fresh on this one. It's sort of a reimagining. They took what worked and amplified it. They took what didn't work and changed it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the definitive Code Vein experience.
I'm excited. I'm excited to, once we get the hands-on, seeing how the partner system works. So I think it's always cool to have like a supporting character or characters that like they were talking about how she could like slow enemies and stuff.
Yeah,
and like
that's cool.
So I'm interested to see. Obviously, it's hard to say how that's gonna feel, how much control we are gonna have over that second character, like how that dynamic's gonna work. But I don't know. I'm very excited and to see what this becomes. So much information and presentation. I was like,
a very information-rich
I was like, I can't write fast enough.
presentation for sure.
But it was cool. I'm very excited to see gameplay for this one, or not see gameplay, but get to play it.
Also at Bandit Namco, we played Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree.
I think my favorite new character design I've seen on the show floor was the Fishman.
Fishman?
Right there is.
Big, strong Fishman.
Yeah. Loved playing as Fishman. This was a cute one. This was interesting. It was a very stressful demo because we didn't have a lot of time.
They were like, the demo is 15 minutes exactly.
Yeah.
They were like, don't mess around. You have 2 characters that you choose. I can't remember the Japanese names for it, but one is the sword and one is the staff.
Yeah.
So you'll see in the footage there's 2 characters and one is out front and they use the swords and then the other one is the support. So if you use the shoulder buttons, the support character can do their kind of little moves.
Yeah.
And you have 2 swords that you have to swap back and forth.
Which is very interesting.
It was
me a little
interesting,
while
yeah.
to get used to, yeah.
Oh, and I'm wondering if later there will be like, if you'll get like a burst of power or something when you swap them, so you can like strategically. Yeah. So the character I was playing had 2 katanas, and the blue one had, if you held R1, it would do like a big charge up spin thing that would stay out, and then you could dodge back out. A lot of dodging in this, a lot of AoEs on the ground that you dodge. And then the other sword had a shorter, kind of more controlled little attack. But yeah, there are like 8 characters, and all of them have different moves, and they interface differently with each other.
And your supports can do different. Like my support gave me shields.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was very nice.
That would have been useful.
Once I figured that out, I was like, oh, well, this is it. It took me a while to like get used to the controlling the second character like that, because it's kind of like you're aiming with your main character while I'm also aiming the second character to hit me with what she has to do.
Yeah.
Like that was like a little like I had to get used to that. But I really liked the visually really pretty. Unfortunately, because we had to race through it, I didn't feel like I had time to like read every like
I didn't read a single thing.
So
but yeah, it's like Hades, where you clear a room and then you get a buff, and then you can choose from like 4 different things, and then you pick which path you want to take next.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you, I'm sure that, the symbols on the doors, it'll tell you what you're getting into.
Yes.
But I was just kind of like, looks good, and I went. I didn't read anything because we only had 15 minutes.
Also, I died once, and I had to start like very far back, so it is very punishing, but in like a good way.
Yeah, it's
like,
a roguelike, so yeah.
But yeah, very excited to see this one coming out soon. September.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, shoot, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, September 19th, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool. I liked it.
It was very, very cute. Now I'm going to talk about Escape Academy 2 Back to School.
Back to school. Our friends make this.
Yeah, need to preface that by saying that, obviously, tiny bit of bias. We'll try and be fairly objective. I did like the game before we knew them.
We knew Michelle before.
We knew one person before.
Yeah.
Now we know the whole team. So, again, this is...
And they're all bastards. And their games are crap.
Yeah, they're all awful people, so no.
No, it's helpful when your friends make games that are actually good, because sometimes your friends make games that you don't like, and then you're just like,
yeah.
Sorry, man.
But again, we're gonna try and be objective, as much as you can. But we are also cozy fans and escape room fans, so it kind of felt like they were pandering to us personally by making this game.
We played together co-op split screen, and they said we did maybe the fastest.
We love doing escape rooms in real life. So.
Well, she loves doing escape rooms in real life, and I do them because she likes them. They make me pretty stressed out.
I love escape rooms.
And worried that I will appear stupid.
I love escape rooms. We took notes. We did the whole thing. If you played the first one, this builds upon the first one. It's really cool because you get to walk around the school, which is the setting in the first one too.
But this one has more like open world.
It's an open world escape room, which is really cool. It's not like I walk into a zone, bam, then it's gonna start. It's like everything.
And there's
is an
still
escape
some
room.
of that. Like the demo started with us doing like the back to school exam, which was timed. Like the original game had the rooms that were timed. We had 15 minutes, did it in like fucking 4.
Oh my god, we're so good.
But yeah. So that was
funny.
cool.
This is turning into, instead of us being like, we like our friends game, it's we really good at games.
But then,
our own horn.
but then after we got out of that, it wasn't timed anymore. So you could, and that's, because I'm obsessed with puzzle games. I love Blueprints and Myst and Talos Principle and The Witness and all of those. And, I'm not against a timer, but I actually, generally prefer when I can just kind of think things through and take things in at my own pace and kind of just be like, okay.
Yeah.
So this is a cool mixture of
Both
the
of
time
those.
pressure of an escape room, and then you have sections where it's like, hey, figure out how to get into your dorm room.
Yeah.
Which, of course, because you're at a puzzle school, Escape Academy,
It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle.
It's an escape room, yeah.
And there are other students that you can talk to. There's an economy. You find like money.
Yeah.
The
We didn't
vending
get
machine
to-
is a puzzle.
Yeah. Obviously, we couldn't see all of it, but it was so far in a demo, it felt like we got a lot more freedom to roam around, to see stuff. It felt like a little overwhelming, but that might have been just because we were kind
We're
of
on a
dropped in. We were
timetable,
and we were dropped in. So like I wonder how the game starts you out if you like go through like some sort of tutorial-y type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Or if that first exam is the tutorial. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder.
But yeah, I mean, it's good. It felt
Yeah.
solid. It looks great. I mean, I
Looks
love the look of this
pretty.
game.
Yeah, it's very pretty. Really liked the puzzles themselves were really good. They were creative. They were different than the first ones. It wasn't like repetitive.
Yeah. And the cool element of having it be kind of, the more open thing is that you don't have to solve everything right in that moment.
Yeah.
You'll find hints towards something and then you'll come back. Like there's a puzzle to the headmaster's room where I was like, okay, how do we get in here? And we were like, we mustn't just not have the information right now. And then we went somewhere else and found it after a couple of other puzzles. So it was kind of neat that you could kind of go around and
Just like a real escape room.
whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's cool. Seems good. I don't know.
We are biased, but also this
I'm
was,
not biased. If their game sucked, I would tell them.
Yeah, I feel like I would too. It was very solid, and we had a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to play the full thing, and I think it's very cool that they took fans' advice and leaned more towards the cozy part of the game, which means you don't have to be stressed all the time, and you're not constantly under a time pressure.
Yeah.
For people like you who don't like the time pressure.
Wyatt asked me what kind of stuff I would like in the game, and I said romance.
Does the game have romance?
I don't think so. Judging by his reaction, I don't think so.
Now we're going to talk about...
Directive 80/20, baby.
This is probably my highlight of the show.
Really?
I really like this.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Very The Thing.
So I've been excited for this game for a very long time. I love these types of story, narrative-driven games. Multiple choices. The choices change the story.
These games are more like cozy horror, I think.
I think they're pretty scary. I was pretty scared. I was a little stressed. The demo essentially dropped you into the situation where... I mean, it's hard to know the context. First, it was like a beautiful little cutscene, and then
really good dialogue. I
emotional.
thought in that first cutscene.
The writing seems really, really solid. Acting seems really, really solid too.
Yeah.
The mocap and the character designs look really, really good.
Which is good with actor likenesses. Like
Yeah.
Until Dawn was one of the first ones to do kind of really high fidelity actor likenesses like that, and be like, oh, we got Rami Malek in our game, and like this is continuing that tradition.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not like these games aren't the highest budget games in the world and stuff, so it's not like Death Stranding levels of like fidelity, but they look really good. And
this was one of the, I think this probably it might be one of the prettiest one, if that in the lineup for sure.
I hope so. It's the newest one.
Yeah. No, it looked really, really good. I think the characters' faces all emoted.
The performances
properly.
were good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like sometimes that can end up looking a little janky on the faces, but there was none of that. So there was a cutscene, and then we were essentially thrown into the story. We're on the ship. There are like duplicates.
Goo everywhere.
There's goo, alien
duplicates
stuff happening.
Of people.
There's a monster, and you have to like sneak around stuff. I was horrified. It was a lot. And then you got a choice at the end, and you had to make a choice, and it would have changed the story. What is cool with this one compared to a lot of the other supermassive similar games is the new rewind system.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. Essentially, you can go back once you've made a choice. So in these games, you make a choice, it has a butterfly effect, changes everything. And originally,
which means like characters can die and stuff.
Characters can die, the whole story can change. The rewind system is essentially, once you made a choice, you can go in, and this is a very nice little menu, and you can see, oh, this choice I made had 3 outcomes, and I picked this one. And then you can choose to go back then or whenever else. And I think it's nice to just know sometimes if something, because sometimes you make a choice and I'm like, what kind of choice did I even make? And so it's nice to now have like the option if you want to play like that.
And like the old ones let you do that, but once you've beaten it,
yeah,
you could go back and start.
So
this is just like an easier way to do that. It's kind of like Virtue's Last Reward or one of those where it's like you can just see the branches. Kind of a soft SGF.
Are we doing the main highlight? Well, we still got games to go.
I'm just having a thought.
Oh yeah.
Just having a side thought.
We'll keep the side thought on the side as we finish up with the last couple.
These last 2 are maybe my highlights.
These last 2 are your highlights? Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. This one, maybe the main reason that Annapurna's booth looked like a CRT TV.
Yeah.
Mixtape.
Amazing, immaculate vibes.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what to think of this one from trailers because I didn't love the Artful Escape. I really appreciated the idea, but I was like, okay, first outing, and there were a lot of stuff about like other similar kind of games like Lost Records that I liked but didn't love. This one, right out the gate.
So cool.
I was like, okay, yeah. The vibes are hitting. She's just talking to camera, giving you the tech specs of a CD player. And I'm like, okay.
There is a part of the demo that kind of solidified it for me. Essentially, you have to play through. They have gamified French kissing.
Yeah. You see her
Very
first kiss. And
fun.
She didn't love it.
And you had to like move the tongue. It was incredible.
The left stick is her tongue and the right stick is his tongue.
Yeah.
And they're just kissing.
Incredible.
And then after a little while, I love that the prompt to end that mini game is, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
We've had enough of that.
Incredible vibes. I am very excited for this game. Another highlight for sure. I love the music choices. It feels, with these games, it's always like, for me personally, like, because they're nostalgia, because it's, teen years or whatever, it's so easy. Either the vibe is a little too much and you're like, I don't know about that.
It can get twee
It
pretty
can get
fast.
twee, or it's the thing of like, I don't personally relate to any of this, so it feels like, oh, this isn't even. This one, I think, hits hopefully for the rest of the game, what I've seen so far, hits the balance of like, it's funny, it's nostalgic, even for someone like me. Like, I didn't have the American upbringing, obviously, I had the Norwegian upbringing. There are still enough elements, because that's the thing, sometimes a lot of these games will be like, here's all this candy from America and these TV shows from America. And I'm like, okay, music is a more global thing. That's something everyone can mostly relate to. Or, I have not thrown, toilet paper rolls across houses, but,
I've TP'd a house in my day.
It's still a global, a thing we all know about at least. And so I hope that if the demo says anything, I think it says that this is going to be relatable to a lot of people, especially in like the Gen X and millennial time frame. Yeah. I don't think Gen Z will relate too much to this, but
pre-phones. If you're a teen pre-phones, you're probably pre-cell phones. This is probably about you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously
feels more Gen X-y almost.
It's like it feels maybe exennial like me.
Whatever.
Elder millennial.
80 early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuz like this feels pretty close to my teenage experience. Like,
and you grew up in Wisconsin.
I grew up in rural America. Yeah, kind of like this. So like beautiful surroundings. I was outside all the time, skateboarding.
Yeah,
driving around, going to
very Norwegian.
Going to the mall because there's nothing better to do. The references are right there, like all very accurate. The kids feel very real, which is super important for this kind of thing, because the writing can always feel very like adults writing a teenager in stuff like this. But this one felt really good because, you know, the main girl, the girl on the left here with the blonde hair, she's the one who's kind of narrating the game, at least through the period of the demo. And even she seems like she's putting on airs kind of to herself a little bit. Like she's doing like, oh yeah, like cool, like oh yeah, like she's playing a bit of a character in real life, and you see that facade kind of slip sometimes, which I really like because it feels very true to like late teens. You're trying to figure yourself out, kind of.
Yeah.
Also, the headbanging mini game was really fun, and it had cool like cinematography that it would like cut.
Yeah.
While you're headbanging, and it would cut to them like
cool.
playing with the dome light in the car, which we did.
Yeah.
Like all stuff we actually did. It's kind of wild.
It's very. I also loved the gameplay we saw in the demo. That's type of gameplay I think fits perfectly with a actually narrative-driven story where the narrative is the main focus.
Yeah.
Speaking of vibes, we have to talk about the final one, obviously. Resident Evil Requiem.
Yeah, so
the big. I would say this is
pretty much everybody's game of the show.
Yeah.
Like, but
or like, well, surprise of the showcases.
Yeah. I mean, we're all hoping for Resident Evil 9. And then I was talking to Jeff. I was like, way to troll us, man. Like, and he was like, yeah, we got you. Like,
yeah, all the little promos with Maggie.
Well, and in SGF, they even said like halfway through, they were like, "Hey, sorry, you're gonna have to wait a little longer." And then this trailer starts, and we're all like, "Okay, that's RE Engine. Like, obviously this is RE Engine, but what is this? They've said there's no RE9."
Yeah.
But yeah, she's the daughter of the Alyssa Ashcroft from Resident Evil Outbreak, which is the weird multiplayer. You'd actually really like it. I think it's kind of like Left 4 Dead.
Oh,
we should emulate it because that's pretty much the only way to play it right now. We were hoping for an Outbreak remake too, but so yeah, we had a theater presentation, hands off, but it was really good.
It was spooky. There's the Instagram, the Resident Evil Instagram, I think, posted like little, they filmed
clips of it. Oh,
reactions.
Oh, reactions. Oh, that's funny.
There was just only like a few seconds long.
That's funny.
Susie was one of them. Maximilian was one of them.
Anyways.
Of course. But yeah, it was a theater presentation.
The long and the short of it is, you wake up and you see a bit of it in the trailer where she's upside down on like a bed, strapped to a bed. That's where the demo started. And she's like, what did they do to me? She's strapped down. They're taking blood. She pulls the blood bottle down and breaks it, uses that to break out, gets off the gurney or whatever. And then it's first person, and she's sneaking around. You hear noises all around. The lighting is incredible. This is the best RE Engine has ever looked.
Yeah.
And she's, it takes place back in Raccoon City after they nuked it, so it's at minimum after RE3, 2, 3, whatever. But like, because it kind of happens at the end of both. But I assume it's after Village in the timeline.
I think so.
And so it's presumably the most modern in the timeline, maybe. And then it's not only is it going back to the beginning, back to those locations, but in the demo they were kind of showcasing like the classic gameplay kind of vibes. She's sneaking around, she's finding fuses for the fuse boxes, she's needs to get a screwdriver,
I wonder how many horror games you need to find a fuse, because in Dying Light you also had to. In the Dying Light demo, you also found a fuse.
Like bolt cutters, another probably
fuses and bolt
here.
Cutters are like, you have to have them.
And they talked about how she's an FBI agent, so she knows how to use guns and stuff. She's not helpless, but she is, as you see in the trailer, she's very timid by nature. She doesn't stand up to her boss. She's,
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a growth that she'll go through in that regard to just get more bold. I mean, like facing a bunch of terrors will do that to you, I suppose.
Yeah.
So she's sneaking around, and this is a very dark area, at least in this game. Like the demo, parts of it were just pitch black.
Awful, horrifying. Ugh.
Until she got a lighter. So she's like going around this weird decrepit hospital, and she gets a lighter, which is great because it lights up around you, but then it also makes it dimmer far away. The lighting looked so good in this. So it's like a help and a hindrance. And the performance of the demo was very like realistic, almost to like a comedic effect, because the player was like looking around and like went into a room and then a bottle came out and then the player just like noped out of there and was like, okay, and then went back a different way. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get the lighter, you go back into the room that had the bottle rolling out, and then open a door. And the first kind of big scare was this body falls out of the door, and she's like, oh God, and then she's checking the body for a pulse and realizes like, okay, he's dead. He was infected. He's dead. And then a giant claw kind of reaches around you and grabs this guy and bites his head off. And then you look up and this big freakazoid is just there. And we've started calling it Fish Baby.
Okay.
It's like a big hunched, super tall, like twice as tall as you, kind of weird, big head, sort of like a baby, but like with fish kind of eyes. And at first you're not sure if it can see or not because it's like right next to you and it's like chomping.
Yeah.
But you're not sure if it can see you. But then it seems like it could see you because it starts chasing you. And then it goes back to gameplay and she's like running and gets hit a little bit. And then the demo, she was like sneaking around, trying to get around this thing. And then it like can break into the ceiling. So at one point it pops out of the ceiling and it's crazy, which is in the trailer. That part right there.
That part, yeah.
It looks amazing. Resident Evil. It looks amazing.
It looks like a Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
But then the big reveal was, and everybody knows this by now, it got leaked a little ahead of the NDA, which is a bummer, but like the big reveal was then they paused the game, went to the options menu, went to like camera and switched it from first person to third person. So you can choose at any time while playing this game to play in first person or third person.
Which I love.
Which is great.
I love when you're able to do that.
Yeah. My only nitpick was, and I kind of sniffed the third person coming because for the entire demo in first person, I kept hearing all these footsteps. And I thought that it was a monster or something outside, but it sounded very close. And then I realized, oh, the game is animating her feet moving slightly anytime she like turns. So you like hear her feet moving in first person, even if you just go like this. Like in first person, it seems like you're just turning your head, but really in third person, you would see your body like moving a little. And so you can hear that all the time. So that was my only critique is like maybe in first person, like turn off your footsteps when you're like, unless it's over a certain threshold of movement or something, because it was a little distracting. Because I was like, for the first like 4 minutes of the demo, I was like, why is there someone walking close? Like, what is that? But yeah, this game looks sick.
It looks very cool.
Resident Evil is great.
What were your highlights from the show floor? Like specifically things you got to see or play at Summer Game Fest?
Hands off. I mean, Resident Evil is hard to beat. I liked Mixtape more than I thought I would. What about you? What's your highlight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I had a lot of I don't think I had like a specific one singular standout. Hands off. I mean, you mentioned them too, and I would also add, I would throw in Code Vein in there because I thought it looked cool.
I'm so surprised that you're into Code Vein.
I thought it looked cool. I should try the first one.
Hell yeah.
Demo-wise, I think, Directive 8020 was fun. I love narrative games.
For that one,
definitely that. Voyagers of Nera was super cool. Crisol was really cool.
Yeah, that was a
Love
surprise.
the whole vibe of that. Dying Light was fun. I was horrified the entire time.
It looks good, though.
It was
the parkour
very scary.
And the sneaking. I mean, it's a beautiful looking game.
And they have a new weather system that makes it really like dynamic too. So
cool.
it started like pouring down rain at one moment. Cool. I was like, oh my god.
I like that.
Yeah, that really impressed me. I'm excited to jump back into the Dying Light sphere and try and be brave and do that.
You were so nervous.
I was
nervous before going into that.
Scared.
She was like, I'm gonna be so scared. And I was
even
like,
the people there, I was playing with this. I wish I remembered her name. She was so nice. She was like my guide through the whole thing. She's like, you're doing great, and I was like, okay. I was like shaking and sneaking around.
Probably Janice. Everybody's name is Janice.
I don't think her name was Janice.
Oh, okay.
Det var det vi hadde fra Summer Game Fest. Mitt navn er Sofia Harris. Tusen takk til Ayla Hink.
Ja!
Hva har du noe siste words of wisdom?
Nei.
Nei, ok. Tusen takk til Easy Allies for lån av det flotte studio.
Ja, no problem.
Og ta og sjekke ut alle artiklene og andre ting som Gamer.no har gitt ut rundt Summer Game Fest.
Tusen takk, Gamer.no.
Tusen takk, Gamer.no. NO. Yeah, Gamer.no.
Let me pitch this. Gamer.yes.
Ja, det har vi savnet. Ok, ha det!
Ha det!